Jey Uso just got fired. Let that land for a moment. One of the most beloved, most exciting, most popular superstars in WWE right now. A man who gets the entire arena on their feet every single time his music hits. A man who has given everything to this company and everything to the fans who love him. Fired. Live on SmackDown. By Nick Aldis. And the reason he got fired is going to make your blood boil. Because Jey Uso did exactly what any person would have done in his situation. He fought back. He found the person who had been making his life a living nightmare for weeks. The mystery attacker who had been hiding in the shadows and attacking him from behind like a coward. And Jey Uso destroyed him. No hesitation. No holding back. Just every single ounce of frustration and pain and rage that had been building inside him since this whole nightmare began coming out all at once. And Nick Aldis fired him for it. Stay right here because this story goes much deeper than one firing, and by the time this breakdown is finished you are going to understand every layer of the most shocking SmackDown moment in recent memory. To fully understand what happened and why it hit so hard, the complete picture of what Jey Uso has been living through needs to be understood first. For weeks Jey Uso has been getting attacked from behind. In hallways. In parking lots. In locker rooms when he was completely alone and had no way to defend himself. Every single attack was carefully planned to cause maximum damage while making sure the attacker was never identified. Whoever was doing this knew Jey's schedule. They knew his patterns. They knew exactly when and where to strike to avoid being seen. This was not random aggression from someone who had a problem with Jey Uso. This was a calculated operation. A deliberate hunting of one specific person carried out with the patience and precision of someone who had been planning it carefully. And the entire time all of this was happening, Jey Uso still had to show up every week. Still had to walk through that curtain. Still had to perform at the highest level in front of thousands of people while looking over his shoulder wondering when the next attack was coming and where it was going to come from. Think about what that does to a person mentally. Think about the weight of going to work every single week knowing that someone is hunting you and not knowing who that person is. Jey Uso carried that weight with more strength than most people in that locker room could have managed. But there is a limit to how long any person can carry that kind of weight. And on this SmackDown that limit was finally reached. Jey found the mystery attacker backstage. Whether he was given information about where to look, whether he set a trap of his own, or whether the moments simply arrived the way moments sometimes do. What matters is what happened when Jey Uso came face to face with the person who had been destroying his life from the shadows. Something took over. Every blindside attack, every week of helplessness, every moment of pain and humiliation that this person had put him through, all of it came out at once. Jey Uso went to work. The backstage area of SmackDown became a completely different place. And the mystery attacker discovered very quickly that hunting someone from the shadows is an entirely different experience from standing in front of that same person when they are fully enraged and have absolutely nothing left to hold back. The destruction was complete, and every single person watching felt that Jey Uso had earned every second of it. And then Nick Aldis made his decision. He looked at the situation. He looked at everything that had been done to Jey Uso over the past several weeks. He looked at the documented history of unprovoked attacks on one of SmackDown's most popular performers. He looked at a man who had finally reached his breaking point after being pushed further than any reasonable person should ever be pushed. And he decided that Jey Uso was the problem. Not the mystery attacker. Not the person who started all of this. Not the coward who spent weeks jumping Jey from behind and then disappeared back into the shadows every single time. No. The man who finally fought back is the one who lost his job. Comment right now and tell me if you think Nick Aldis made the right call. Because that decision is one of the most infuriating moments SmackDown has produced in a very long time. Here is what makes this firing even more complicated when you think about it carefully. Nick Aldis is not a careless man. He does not make decisions without understanding what they mean. So when Nick Aldis looks at this situation and chooses to fire Jey Uso while the mystery attacker keeps their job and keeps walking those hallways freely, you have to ask yourself what his actual motivation really is. Is this genuinely about maintaining order on SmackDown? Or is there something else happening that the audience cannot yet see clearly? Because the decision to punish the person who was wronged while the person who did the wronging walks away free does not happen without a reason behind it. That kind of decision has an agenda. And the more you examine the timing of that firing and the way it was executed, the more questions pile up that WWE has not yet answered. Now, the identity of the mystery attacker needs to be addressed directly because this is what everything has been building toward. The person who spent weeks systematically targeting Jey Uso is someone with direct personal history with him. Someone who had enough access and enough knowledge of Jey's schedule and movements to carry out those attacks with the precision that was on display week after week. This was never a random enemy. This was always personal. This was someone who smiled at Jey Uso while planning to destroy him from behind. That is not simply a rivalry. That is a betrayal. Real personal betrayal from someone Jey coexisted with and perhaps even trusted to some degree. And when that face was revealed, when the camera caught who was actually standing there, the arena's reaction said everything. That specific sound, that mixture of shock and outrage and disbelief that only happens when WWE genuinely surprises its audience with something nobody fully expected, was completely owned. The secret was protected. The reveal landed exactly as hard as it needed to land. But here's where the real story begins. Jey Uso is fired. The man who was hunted, who was attacked repeatedly without any provocation, is now the man without a job. And the backstabbing coward who orchestrated the entire campaign against him is still employed, still walking those hallways, still fully protected by the same system that just removed Jey Uso from the building. That injustice is real, and it should make every single person watching genuinely angry. Because Jey Uso firing does not end this story. It starts a completely new and far more dangerous chapter of it. Jey Uso without a WWE contract is not a contained threat. He does not have to follow SmackDown rules anymore. He does not have to answer to Nick Aldis. He does not have to wait for sanctioned match opportunities or go through official channels to get his hands on the person who did this to him. Nick Aldis removed the rules that were the only thing keeping Jey Uso's response within any kind of boundary. And the mystery attacker who thought the shadows would protect them forever is about to discover that no shadow is dark enough to hide from someone who has absolutely nothing left to lose. This SmackDown changed everything. The mystery is solved. But the war is only just beginning.